She can have a conversation, like she
Yeah,
has.
she- yeah.
She just can't.
Meeting's being recorded.
Okay, we'll put custom.
Order, roll call please.
Kristen, Karen, Josh,
Yes.
Paul,
Yes.
Larry, Kate, and Jake.
Yes. Item 3 is approval of last month's regular board meeting minutes.
I move we approve the board minutes.
Last meeting.
I'll second.
Questions, then roll call please.
Kristen,
Yes.
Karen,
Yes.
Josh,
Yes.
Paul,
Yes.
and Jake.
Yes. Okay, informed there were no communication this month, so move on to the approval of today's agenda. I don't think there are any changes. No changes, kind of motion to approve.
So moved.
Second.
Roll call to approve the agenda today.
Kristen,
Yes.
Karen,
Yes.
Josh,
Yes.
Paul,
Yes.
and Jake.
Yes. Fiscal officer's report.
I need approval of disbursements and gifts that were listed in the board packet.
You mean the staff day 2 weeks?
No, the disbursements and gifts, all the big reports.
Leave one.
Normal report.
Move to approve.
Second.
Second. Any questions or further discussion for Lisa? I don't. Motion, roll call please.
Kristen,
Yes.
Karen,
Yes.
Josh,
Yes.
Paul,
Yes.
and Jake.
Yes.
Now I need approval for staff day food expense, not to exceed $2,500. Approve the staff day last board meeting. And since it's all day, we want to feed people.
Yes.
And it's all the staff from all the libraries, right?
Yes.
I move.
I'll second.
Roll call?
Kristen,
Yes.
Karen,
Yes.
Josh,
Yes.
Paul,
Yes.
and Jake.
Yes. Really, oh, at Bainbridge, okay.
Yes. Yeah.
That's right. Okay,
And then I need approval for amendments to the exhibit A. This is the exhibit that's included in the capital funds resolution that was approved in March. Yeah, and that's just to clarify some things. It was a clerical error in wording. Just to make sure that we're only spending it on the designated, items such as for the building repair or for charging. It's not going to anything else.
Move to approve it.
And second.
can we get a roll call on that?
Yes, please.
Okay.
Kristen,
Yes.
Karen,
Yes.
Josh,
Yes.
Paul,
Yes.
Jake.
Yes.
And then last meeting, we talked about, I had that clean net return on investment report, and Josh had asked for some more information. So I did a little sheet for you here, a little graph. There was this, the accounts listed were accounts that I was told we would have no more expenditures from when we first went to ClickNet. So while that is not entirely true, we did see, after adjusting for inflation, a slight decrease. So I did an adjustment because we were paying like $13,000 more than we had in 2017. But if you adjust for inflation, there is a savings of $5,000. The biggest savings came when you consider salaries. So at that time, we had a larger IT staff, we had a larger technical services staff. So when you factor in the savings from those salaries while providing the same services, then we did have a substantial savings, over $300,000 a year, adjusting for inflation. I took the normal raises that we, or the raises that were each year. So that's that.
Good.
And then, the question was also asked if we are, I think it's called a net provide, what is it? Net provider or net receiver?
Yeah, net sender.
Net
Oh,
sender,
yeah.
net sender or net
Are we sending out more books to Cleveland? People?
We are not sending out more books, we are receiving
Oh, good.
more books. That's on the second page of mine. Okay. It's about even. I mean, it's not a huge amount more. It averages, I don't know, it comes out to 0.8. You know, you can't really hard to put a number on it, but we do receive, our patrons receive more from CleanNet than we are sending out. So I think it's at a good place. You don't want it, you don't have a bad collection where they have to go outside and receive everything, but for those items that they can't get a hold, you know, can't. The holds are high on ours, they are receiving stuff like that.
It's really close to 50/50.
Yeah, it's really well
Really
balanced. So to me, that makes sense. We're getting some benefit, we're providing some benefit, but being part of the cooperative agreement. PLF estimate, they increased for 2022 estimate by over $500,000. And that's what we've been seeing, that because it's mostly because of sales tax. People are spending stuff, which is. And then I do need to mention that we received a check from Bank of America for over $5,000 cash back. I'm required to report that to you when we receive that check. And that's the cash back because we started paying Ingram with credit card. So we make a little money on Ingram. And I think that's it, unless anybody has questions.
Your charts are very helpful and thank you. Awesome. Let's move on to the director's report.
I am requesting approval for tuition reimbursements as presented in your board packet.
Okay, move those tuition reimbursements.
Second.
Roll call.
Kristen? Yes. Karen?
Yes.
Josh?
Yes.
Paul?
Yes.
Jake?
Yes.
We have been talking about the indoor coil HVAC work at the Ag Center, and that is now scheduled for August 22nd, which is next week. So we will not have HVAC next week at the Ag Center. Most of our staff is going to continue to work at the Ag Center. It's been pretty nice outside. We're going to open the windows, and we want to still be able to have patrons pick up their bowls and get things there. We do have a couple people who are going to move around to other locations, but that's all been scheduled. The Geauga West branch now has their digital legacy lab up and running, and staff has been trained. So that means we have 4 digital legacy labs system-wide. We are finding that the patrons really like that service and are using it, and we have a lot of training around that. Maybe you have seen in your mail the lines and links, but if you haven't, you will soon this week. It went out ahead of schedule. And we did most of our design in-house. Denise, our new marketing manager, is very good at design and was able to do that. And our next one will be designed exclusively in-house. Our strategic plan initiative, our 1-pager for staff and our 1-pager for the website is completed, and I'll be handing that out during board development. Again, I wanted to remind everyone that Staff Development Day is October 10th, and in the morning, all of the staff will be at Bainbridge. If you would like to stop by, staff would participate. You can also have your picture be taken for the website if you would like that day. And if you do want to do that, you can schedule it with Debbie, and we'll make sure we schedule a time for you so you don't have to wait in line with everyone else. We are still experiencing some COVID-related staffing issues where we'll have groups of people out at the same time and we have to reschedule things and move people around. We haven't experienced a lot of significant illnesses or difficult illnesses, but we have had people out at the same time in the same department. So I wanted to let you know that. Summer reading ended on July 31st, and I put in our final totals there, and the staff did a great job promoting that all the way through the end of the month. And it was nice to have all of those in-person programs and be able to have the kickoff and the Dr. Dave Sales the Seven Seas event, which is kind of the ending event, but a lot of our branches also had, ice cream filters as well, which our patrons always love those, so. Bainbridge had our after-hours art reception, which Karen was able to stop by, which was a lot of fun, and that was a great program. Judy Lasco volunteered for the Chardon Chamber of Commerce Car Show on Chardon Square, which was great. Geauga West is still having really great numbers for their Readers Facebook Happy Hour. That is just every month. They just have a wonderful turnout for that, even though it's moved through various heads of adult services heading up that program. So the patrons really love that program. Rachel Hartman is coordinating with the partners and the foundation on our book sales, and they are getting ready for the fair. I think we only have 6 volunteer slots left for the fair, so they have filled all of that up. And they're really excited and moving a lot of books out there and getting ready for that. And Rachel's really doing a great job working with those 2 groups. Mobile Services has added stops, which will start in September. So we've increased our bookmobile stops significantly for the fall. And Thompson had a very successful Pirate Day, not quite as successful as Mermaid Day, but they did also like the pirates, so that was another good thing. So all in all, public services and programming is really doing well, and all that information is included in your board packet.
Fabulous. That's it, right? Thank you.
Yes.
Cool. Okay, all right, human resources report, please.
Chris Rita is out today due to a family illness, so we are asking for approval of the human resources actions as presented in your board packets, which is 1 new hire, 2 resignations, 2 transfers, and 1 promotion.
Right, move it.
I'll second.
Roll call, please.
Kristen,
Yes.
Karen,
Yes.
Josh,
Yes.
Paul,
Yes.
Jake.
Yes. Okay, awesome. Judy, local managers report.
Yes, hello,
Hello.
welcome everybody to Chardon. I have show and tell. So this month or this fall, Chris's report in Lines and Links is about some of the children's resources we have, the special children's resources we have. And you've probably seen all these already, but I'm bringing them back just to kind of give another show and tell. These are some of the special resources we have in the library. I'm going to squeeze something here. These are called early literacy kits. And so these are especially for the preschool age. And we have probably at least 50 of these spread around the different branches. And early literacy being the idea that children learn by not only by reading, but by playing too. So this one of my staff wrote it, so I brought it. It's a book about going to the market, and then it has little vegetables in here that the kids can kind of cut the vegetables. So this is a little tomato that you cut up. And there is a corn that you peel. And then it comes with an activity card that gives the parents some help on how to use, talk about colors and language and things like that. So this would be specifically for the preschool kids. Here's more information inside. And this box in particular, this box has circulated 52 times. So, and they come back and our circ staff cleans them up and puts them back out. And then this is our backpacks, and these are for more of the school age kids, and they're mostly like science activities, hands-on activities, and this one's pulleys. So I brought it with a little demonstration. So the kids have, this one I was trying to practice with, you have to balance. It's more physics and balance, and here's a pulley and more things in there. And it comes with cards, like science experiments for the kids. It's got more stuff in there. And then each of the kits comes with books. So You know, these are, pulleys and, well, teeter-totter book there, for the kids. And then we also have our STEAM kits, which are again, a science kit, but maybe a little bit older kids and maybe towards teens. And this is a brand new one. This one I said, this one had been checked out 49 times. This one is the human body. So you have an actual, like, human body that you have in some forceps and things. That you can take the human body apart, and also a lot of, literature in there about it. So this is one of the brand new ones that we did, that we created this year. And then the one other resource I wanted to talk about, that Chris mentioned in her article, you can pass these just now, is our database for Brain Fuse or Help Now database. It's one of our resources that you can find on our website and specifically geared towards children and students, and just has a wealth of help in there. It actually has live tutoring that you can sign up for. So for parents, children that are struggling, there's live tutoring. You can make flashcards. I know Chris said she liked those with her. You can make, you can make your own quizzes, flashcards, practice ACT tests, like a whole range from preschool all the way up through high school. So that's another resource that was mentioned, Chris mentioned in her Lines and Links article. So that's our show and tell.
Thank you. And committee reports. Lemon. Unfinished business. New business.
We are asking for approval to update policy 731, loan periods, renewals, fines and fees. And I know we just updated all of the operating policies recently, but we left out, when the pandemic started, we stopped sending people to collections and we changed, all of that. So we recently started sending people back to collections, and actually tech services and our heads of CERC have done a lot of work to let our patrons know who are in jeopardy of going to collections that, hey, this might happen to you. So they're calling all 700 and,
I think it's like 400.
oh, 400, okay. Oh, I'm looking at the 700 number.
Oh.
Policy number. So our heads of CERC have called everyone who's in jeopardy of going to collections and left a message and said, this could happen to you, please bring the books back or the items back, and letting them know that this could happen. So we need to get this back into our policy so that everything is the same. I'm asking for approval to the changes to that policy.
This is mostly for missing materials, not necessarily for people who just were 3 weeks late on 60 books.
We don't know, no, this is for stuff we don't have fines.
That's what I was thinking.
It includes lost, damaged, and process fee bills,
Okay,
and only on geographic items.
that's what I was thinking.
Stuff
What
that's
is this
long
picture?
gone and, has been out for, automatic renewals are 5 times for 15 weeks, so this stuff's long gone.
Okay, I'm good.
Move it.
I'll second.
Roll call.
Kristen? Yeah. Karen?
Yes.
Josh?
Yes.
Paul?
Yes.
Jake?
Yes.
12B is approval to retain legal counsel as needed for routine employment related questions. We frequently have questions where we need timely answers on FMLA or interpretations of policies where we need to call someone and ask a question, do we do X or do we do Y? These are very basic things. So we're asking for approval to do this. Any non-routine issues would continue to go to the personnel committee and the board. Pretty straightforward, and this is not a large dollar amount or large funds or very often, right? But it happens maybe once every 2 to 3
I would
months.
say a couple months.
Yeah.
So who are you gonna hire?
Abby Brown with
Healthy.
Calfee.
She's done, I mean, you guys have worked with her now for a bit, she's done a great job, right?
Right.
My understanding is this is typically stuff that the prosecutor's office isn't, they may just say, we don't, it's an HR issue, they're not helping on HR issues. That doesn't make sense to me.
So moved.
Second.
Roll call.
Kristen,
Yes.
Karen,
Yes.
Josh,
Yes.
Paul,
Yes.
Jake.
Yes.
So we have the presentation first. So we'd like to ask the Herb Society to present first before we go through C, D, and E.
Present for you. Oh, okay, I was wondering, all right. So we need to. See. I come walk over. Oh.
It's on.
Done.
Yeah, it's just warming up.
I'm happy to attend the Herb Society. I started the Herb Society in 1989, so, and we've been at Bainbridge ever since. Actually, this was our former garden, which was paved over when they put the new library building in. I had started by putting an ad in the Sugar Valley Times and in the Herald Sun, and the most amazing people showed up and stayed with us for a long time. And we really have created a group that is very multifaceted and very knowledgeable. We're master gardeners, there are professionals, hobbyists, there's people who love gardening and people who want to learn about gardening. There's no real, there's no knowledge you have to join us. Okay, so our garden we put in 1992, which makes it, well, we've been gardening there for 30 years. In 1995, we added the tea house. And we added the tea house, kind of a gazebo-like structure. And that was put up by Ruth Casella, who is a Lone Geauga County resident.
How big was that tea house?
That one was at the roof line 9 by 9. And the one that we want to put in is 12 by 12 at the roof line. It only makes it 10 by 10 inside, which, you know, we had one bedroom in our last house that was 10 by 10 and you could put a bed in your house. So it's not real big. But people have used it so much. After story hour, you see moms and their kids in there, you see kids after school from Princeton, you see staff members having their lunch in there, or people meeting in there. There's always somebody in there. We had added fencing, and this is just a little tour through the old garden for those of you who are not really familiar with us. And our library sign had been stolen several times. before, blacksmith, the village blacksmith Ken Roby, designed one for us. He said, I'll make you one where nobody will ever take that sign again. We had added, some pathways, some bricks, some various other kinds of stone here and there. This is part of the potpourri garden. I should tell you, we had added some fencing, our entry sign, we had, the big oak that was kind of our focal point when you look through the tea house. I think it was hit by lightning a few times, and branches fell, so, we did add a ginkgo tree, and which, landscaper has moved for us. So that has replaced that. We had several trees which were planted in memory of, former members, or members who have passed away. And, well, you'll see some of those as we go through this. This was the culinary garden, and actually in our new garden on our west, we have an east garden and a west garden now. The east garden is right next to Snyder Road. The west garden is close to the library. And then the tea house will eventually go into the middle. And the culinary garden is basically shaped exactly the same. All the culinary garden, we have culinary garden, the blue and silver garden, which is mostly dyer's herbs. We have the potpourri garden, literary garden, which is kind of a secret garden, and secret garden theme, but also it will have quotes on it, which the old one did. So pretty much the same as it was. Butterfly garden, medicinal history garden. We have two gardens that are touch and sniff fragrance gardens, so that people can come and really experience the herbs. I want to make sure I don't miss anything. Oh, and around our tea house, the old tea house, we had a lot of perennials, and it was an all-season colorful garden. Right now, the new tea house is going to be in the shade, so that won't quite work. So we have more of the raised beds that will be perennial, but the garden will be colorful. And, this is also the culinary garden and the blue and silver garden. Potpourri garden, potpourri. And this is the literary garden. It's kind of our secret garden. As I said, this was our original garden. And these were our raised, they were good enough for a wheelchair to get through, of course, some grass, but wheelchair and braille labeled. Here's our tea house again. And you'll notice the grasses behind the tea house. Those grasses are still there. And they also house plants that are part of our butterfly garden, like milkweed and other things that the butterflies really love. And you really could consider it more of a pollinator garden, not just butterflies. And our butterfly team, each garden has a team. Yeah, 3 or 4 people. Oh, and I should introduce Joyce Sakura back there. She is our garden chairperson. And she makes sure all these gardens are well cared for, and she does a great job at it. Okay, and this is the old garden. This is the ginkgo tree up in the middle and the grasses. And there you see behind that some joe pine, which the butterflies love. But now our new butterfly garden is right up against those grasses. So it's be easy for that committee to take care of. Just another view. Now this was part of demolition. Now I want you to look at the trees to the left, and you see the way the building was between those trees. That's where the tea house is going to be. So it's kind of fun to look and say, this was the way it was then, and now you look at it today, and this is all parking lot, and the tea house will be right up there in the middle. I have this here because when we dismantled our garden, the Kenston Giving Garden Club, a high school Kenston garden club, that has a garden. It's a really wonderful garden. If you haven't seen it, you should go and see it. But they took so many of our plants and took care of them and have returned them. But I mean, they brought trucks, they were amazing. And everything that they grow in their garden, they give away. Pretty cool. And we could not figure out how to take the tea house away, if we had to pay to take it away and store it someplace, or it would have been way too much money. So, we gave it to the village of South Russell. And if you were on Washington Street, near the power lines, and you look up on the hill, you'll see the tea house there. And it's a lovely hike up the hill from Washington Street there, their parking lot there. It's part of South Russell Park. And just filled right now with butterflies. So it's also at the head of the interurban railroad memorial and trail, which the Boy Scouts have put together. So it's got a new one. And there it is being moved. And we had a police escort. It was really quite interesting. Okay, this is a picture of the new garden in progress. You can see how early spring it was. The west garden to the right, the tea house will be right in the center there between the trees, or not, well, among the trees, I should say. And then the east garden, over here we have the culinary, the blue and silver, the potpourri, and the, literary. And on the other side, we'll have we do have 4 perennial beds, because they're already planted. 4 perennial beds, and a butterfly and medicinal, and 2 sections that are touch and sniff fragrance gardens. It's a lovely space, and even though it looks huge, we really don't have any more planting space than we had before. It's just, and the beds are a little more raised, so they invite you to come sit. The west beds are already stained in a dark gray like the library, and that will be happening with the east beds. The grass has been planted and is coming up. It's doing real well at this point. And here they are putting the west garden in. The west garden. You can see if you look out the library windows all along that wall, no matter what room you're in, you see the west garden. And here it's coming along. And that's the curve coming down, coming around, and you can see the west garden is right there. And this is where the tea house will sit in the center. And you don't really realize it, but that is a nice hill. And from that hill, when you're coming up Snyder, if you're going north on Snyder and you're at the light, you'll be able to see the new tea house right sitting on the hill in the wintertime. It will be nice. You can see it from the doors in front of the library. You can see it when your car enters the parking lot. Just some construction stuff. We had brick pads put in between the boxes. Here you can see them here. They put them in crooked because we had one layer of the beds were below the ground, and everything was just the one layer below it. And they put them in crooked. They made them take out 3 of those and put them back in straight. They weren't real happy with me. But we are very strict about doing it right. And this is from looking where the tea house will be down into that east garden. And now, as I say, it's all grass. All of this is thankfully because of the irrigation system that you will all put in. It's been great, but you can see we had to put sprinklers around the garden as this grass is coming up, and we've had people out there twice a day watering. And it takes about 40 minutes to water, but our members have been terrific. So just another view. And this is our ginkgo tree right here, which used to be kind of in front of the grasses, and now it's really gotten huge. And Erickson Landscaping has done that for us, and it's looking great. Those ginkgo trees they're really tremendous, so it's nice to have it. This was the tea house that is at Quailcrest down in Worcester. And it was the one that ours was modeled after, and it used to have the same kind of roof that ours had. But you can see they've changed to a metal roof, and that's what we're doing. We're going to have a light green patina roof, which will, if it was gray, it would blend a little too much into the trees, because the trees in winter will be gray, and that little bit of green patina just stands out just a little. And theirs actually is green also. It's that from that angle, it's a little hard to tell. But anyway, we're still following that. And this is we had sandstone flooring and paths. The path goes all the way through. And we haven't gotten approval from you yet to do the path, but we want to put the same sandstone. We have saved those. And we want to put those as the floor of our tea house, and with a path all the way out to the sidewalk. Then we will get all our drawings in, and so you can approve those next time. And here we are, the Sugar Valley Herb Society. We have some amazing new members. We started the pandemic and losing our garden with 35 members, and now we have 50. And the most amazing people have come forward, and Kate Sengus is one of them, and she has put together our website, which is amazing. So, and I do have some cards, so I'll pass out to you. So you can go to our website and see the creative things that are going on in the herbs. Do you have any questions?
So you enjoy doing this?
This part is not really in my comfort zone, but the Herb Society, I love it. I just love the people. We're more a people organization, and we love working with the community. I don't think I've ever been out in the garden, and that includes this year, when there haven't been people that stopped to talk to us or thank us for what we're doing.
The previous garden was very nice.
Thank
I hope this one is too.
Well, we have our mission is to be very strong at making it the best garden we can do, and not doing anything that you guys wouldn't like, or that the public, to welcome the public and to teach. Our people are all a little bit teacher, artists, and scientists, and you never know everything about gardening. So that's what makes it so much fun.
I'm gonna get in trouble. I'm the husband. I think it would be a good idea to recap how much the Herb Society has raised
Oh, and I
and
wanted
how
to,
much the library has. put
and I
towards
did have
this
that in my
project.
notes, which I'm not looking. Thank you so much. You guys gave us $15,000, which didn't quite cover the West Garden, but we added to that, and we have put about $20,000, a little more than $20,000, $20,450 into the garden so far. And there are still things we want to do, which we will bring to you each step of the way. We hate to get ahead of ourselves, so this is what we have been ready for thus far. Now we're ready for the tea house, and then the next time we'll talk about putting that stone back in the garden that was there to begin with. And with their good size sandstone slabs, and I said we're storing those. Trellises, we like 2 trellises in each garden to give it height, and to also make 2 gardens look like they belong together, and to give the whole place more of a cozy feeling like the old garden.
Kathy, did the Friends of Bainbridge Library ever donate some money to you?
They donated $10,000 to us. The
And
Friends.
is that included in the 20,000
Yes.
you raised? Okay.
Yes. Yes. And we have the money in our pockets right now for the tea house which will probably come to about 10,000 between with the floor. Um, Anything else?
You should set the bar high because it was beautiful before, so.
Thank you,
Well,
John.
thank you.
Appreciate that. Yeah, our members are just, they're relentless in making it good. And I have to say that there's so much about herbs to learn, and any of you who want to come and have a tour, I'm happy to do that, and bring your friends.
Thank you
Thank
very
you.
much.
Say something just.
To clarify, for those listening at home, we did not give the Herb Society money. We paid for the garden to be replaced from our funds. We paid for that to replace what was there. Just to be clear.
We did not.
There's legal reasons we have to see.
We did not donate to another
No, we
organization.
did not do that. Okay,
Right, we never saw any money.
That's right.
We never saw any money. That was not.
And now we're all nice and legal.
So the next three items under new business have to do with the Herb Society. So we're requesting approval of the Chagrin Valley Herb Society MOU as attached and presented in your board packet.
And this is the same MOU that was signed,
Over a year ago.
Yeah, it was over a year.
Last
Yeah.
May.
Yeah.
Last May.
Yeah.
I move to approve the MOU.
Second.
Any questions? We can roll call on that. Roll call, please.
Kristen,
Yes.
Karen,
Yes.
Josh,
Yes.
Paul,
Yes.
Jake.
Yes.
12D is approval to accept the gift of a tea house on the Bainbridge property. And as noted in the MOU, any structural additions to the herb garden must be approved by the library board of trustees and will be considered a gift to the Geauga County Public Library.
So moved.
Second.
Roll call.
Kristen,
Yes.
Karen,
Yes.
Josh,
Yes.
Paul,
Yes.
Jake.
Yes.
Okay, and then 12B is approval of the zoning letter of authorization and representation. Approval is needed for facilities manager John Johnston to represent the library in zoning matters at Bainbridge Township.
So moved.
Second.
Roll call.
Kristen,
Yes.
Karen,
Yes.
Josh,
Yes.
Paul,
Yes.
Jake.
Yes.
Thank you so much.
And then we have approval of the discard law as presented in your board packet.
Move to approve the discard list.
Second.
Roll call, please.
Kristen,
Yes.
Karen,
Yes.
Josh,
Yes.
Paul,
Yes.
Jake.
Yes. Okay. New business. Board development, item 13 on the agenda.
Okay, I do have a little bit. So I'm gonna pass out the new graphic representation of the updated strategic plan. This side is for staff and it has a little bit more detail. And then this is the side that will be on the website, and Denise was able to get this done in record time. I'd like to remind everyone, she has been with us for 6 weeks. I said have been earlier today. 6 weeks. So that's right. That's right. She's doing a great, phenomenal job. So. And then I emailed these out, but I did print out copies, and this is the OLC document that talks about maintaining separation between public libraries and affiliate organizations, specifically friends and foundations. So I just have a printed copy for everyone. And that's for Paul. And Lisa and I had a meeting today with Matt Warnock of the foundation. We had a meeting last week with Marcia and Alice, the co-chairs of the foundation. And we have additional meetings set up. And as I mentioned in my weekly update, we would like to meet with the executive committee to talk about the foundation and their structure and moving forward. So I presented some possible dates and hopefully we can get that scheduled tonight and move forward with that. And that's all I had for board development. But also, we have a we have a facilities committee meeting August 30th. That's the kickoff meeting with Bostwick. For those of you on the facilities committee, Paul, Kristen, and Kate, you're more than welcome. Everyone's welcome to come to that meeting, but there will be many more after that if you can't make the meeting. And I'll send out a reminder about that meeting as well this Friday.
What's that one about?
That's the study for Chardon.
Oh,
And just a very brief reorganization on the ad center to get a little bit more community space available there.
Foundation, item 14.
That's kind of included in what I was talking about.
Comments from the public? Good, Mike. All right, good. With that, can I have a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Second.
Second.
Give it to Josh, okay. All in favor?
Right.
Adjourned.
Okay.
Yep.